Hello, and welcome to the 2025 Town of Huntersville Candidate Forum, presented by the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. Tonight's 2-hour session provides residents with the opportunity to hear directly from candidates, learn about their positions, and submit questions on issues that matter most to our community. Justin Ckezepis is your moderator. Let's join the action live from Huntersville Town Hall.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. Their standings are on the issues that are going on in the town, and the chance to ask questions and get direct answers from them, and make them give you answers. Don't let them get off the hook that easily. A couple things coming up for the chamber that I'd like to remind everybody of. On Tuesday, October 14th, from 11 till 5, the Lake Norman Chamber Business Expo at the Huntersville Rec Center. It's open to the public, and there's no admission charge. So come out and visit the local businesses. We have 120 businesses that'll be at the expo, so you get a chance to see a lot of the businesses from the area and the region. Next Thursday, October 16th, is the Chamber's Public Safety Luncheon, honoring the outstanding police and firefighters in Cornelius, Davidson, and Huntersville. 11:45 a.m. at Northstone Country Club. There are seats still available for that. And last thing I'm going to talk about real briefly, and I would like everybody to understand, the Chamber of Commerce has taken no position on the transit tax. But we do have presentations both for and opposed on the website under the transit tax button at the top, so you can make an informed decision. Now that I've stated that, I'm going to give you my opinion of the transit tax. Once again, this is not the Chamber's opinion, this is my opinion as a citizen of North Mecklenburg, former elected official, and a business owner in the area. And I believe Larry Shaheen is here somewhere. There's Larry, back in the corner. Larry's going to be speaking to you between the mayors and the commissioners, and he's going to tell you why to support the transit tax. And what I'm going to say to you is take everything he says with a grain of salt. Number one, he's an attorney. Number one, he's an attorney. Number two, he's being paid to make this thing go through. So he wants to make sure that it does get approved. On the other hand, we have been promised up here for over 30 years that we were going to have a red line. Everybody sees it going up and down the tracks every week, right? No. You're being promised again that you're going to see a red line. It's not going to happen. If you read the PAVE Act, which is a extremely long and extremely poorly written bill, there's all kinds of outs, so they don't have to do the red line. The elected officials up here want everybody to support it because we're going to get money for roads. It's pittance compared to what we're going to be paying. As a small business owner, and anybody else who's a small business owner in an area, we compete with businesses in Iredell County, Ckezepis County, Lincoln County. When this sales tax goes into effect, local business owners are going to have a 2% disadvantage on selling things to our neighbors because our sales tax will be 2% higher than all the other surrounding counties. I could go on and on about why this is a bad bill and why we need to reject it. The important thing is, if it does get rejected, it's the responsibility of these people up here, the mayors and the commissioners, to go back to Raleigh and say, okay, now give us funding for our roads. Don't tie us to a sales tax that's going to be here forever. do something so we can get roads and we can get improvements in our area, and don't promise us things that we're never going to see. So with that, if you have any other questions about it, you can go to noredlinetax.com and find out a lot of information about it, or you can reach out to me directly. I own the range at Lake Norman and Cornelius. Come by and see me. Be happy to talk to you about it. Reach out to me online. Reach out through the Chamber of Commerce. And I hope that you seriously consider not supporting this sales tax come November. So with that, I will turn it over to Justin, and it's all yours. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Brian. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? We are broadcasting live on WSIC right now. We are also video live streaming on all of social media, as well as the WSIC news app. So if you're in here, you consent to being broadcast here if your voice it gets out of control and unruly. But we're not going to have that. We're going to have a thoughtful discussion with our candidates here, both the mayoral and the town board. You have the opportunity to submit questions. That's what it's really about, giving you the opportunity to ask the questions that you want. And so Vanna White is here today as well, and she will be collecting the note cards from you around the room. You're welcome to pass them down, and you can submit them that way. Also online, we are monitoring online socials as well. If you have questions, you are able to submit online, and then those will be directed toward me as well. So starting with the mayoral candidates here, we're grateful for both of you for being here tonight. We so appreciate your time and your willingness. Just randomly, I'm going to start left to right, and then Mr. Partee, I'm going to end right to left, just to start at the front and the end, and we'll go that way. So Mayor Clark, if you would please share, why are you running for election again?
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Christy Clark. I am the mayor of Huntersville. I'm a 15-year resident of the town of Huntersville. I'm a former paralegal and state representative. I also am an educator at Huntersville Elementary School in addition to being the mayor. I'm going to answer this a little unconventionally in that I always get asked, what am I most proud of that the town has done? And I'm proud of the fact that we have increased transparency in the town by having a newsletter, a radio show with our friend Justin over there, and had multiple meetings for budget review and other events like the State of the Town address. I'm proud of the fact that we have increased parks and greenways in the town and made a commitment to that. That's the number one thing residents ask for, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited about our investment in our staff. The previous board had the foresight to do a salary study, and then we turned around and completed that and invested in our staff here. I'm also excited about sidewalks and roads. When we were campaigning in 2023, the number one thing we heard about was the fact that people want more sidewalks in this town, and so we invested in those right away. We've also invested in communicating and being a really integral part of the Pottstown, part of the town of Huntersville, and so that has been something we are very proud of. And our investment in affordable housing, we're the first board to actually have dollars put towards affordable housing. And so that went to affordable housing needs study, which will be critical for us to implement. And last but not least, of course, public safety. Our very first official action was creating a municipal fire department. And then soon after, we invested in our police officers by raising their pay. And then we have also implemented having 3 school resource officers in elementary schools with the plan to expand to 6 in the future. And so why am I running again? It's because we have built a wonderful town. We have momentum moving forward, and I want to continue that momentum and that success for the town of Huntersville to make sure that Huntersville stays a place where people can live and thrive and raise their families and feel safe here, but also for kids who grow up and go away, and I want them to know they can come back here and live here happily.
Thank you. Mr. Partee. You also are not unfamiliar with being an elected official here in the town of Huntersville, so please tell us, why are you running
No,
again?
I am not. No, I'm not. My name is Derek Partee. First of all, thank you for having this forum. My name is Derek Partee. I'm a former commissioner here in Huntersville. But getting to that position as commissioner, I went through a transition when I first moved down here. In 2004, my wife and I came down to Huntersville from Long Island, New York, a densely populated community. And we loved Huntersville because it was sparse, there was greenery, there were tree line, and not only that, running through my backyard, I had deer and I could see hummingbirds. That's the reason why I moved here. There's an innocence being lost to Huntersville. And as the next mayor, I want to help correct that. I have over 45 years of government experience, 30 years in criminal justice. That's tantamount to my leadership skills. The progression when I moved down here, the learning curve that I went through, and having a master's in public administration was also serving on the 2040 committee, contributing to our 2040 plan, then by serving on the planning board, learning the nuances of how the vote for zoning changes are produced. Then from there, I became an elected official. But what's more important about being an elected official is that we are all commissioners and mayor. We're elected to represent you. We're not elected to represent a party. This is a nonpartisan community. And listening is a quality that we have, that I have as an elected official. And believe me, during my job as a detective, especially homicide and sexual offense, you have to listen to detail. You have to listen to pay attention to the evidence. And I think that's very important as an elected official, to pay attention and listen to the community. And right now, the community is angry. They're angry because there's excessive development going on in this town. If you drive down Hambright, you see all these factories. You see all the factories that they're vacant. When you drive down 21, you see the rental community that's being built. When these communities come online, ladies and gentlemen, when they're occupied, that's going to stress our infrastructure. So what we need to do now is we need to sort of pause, take the for sale sign down in the front of Town Hall and put up temporarily closed so that our town management can catch up. Safety is paramount, and that's what I want to push as your next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both again for being here this evening. We do appreciate it. We will have quite the variety of questions tonight, I can tell you that up front. We'll start with the little one that is of no concern or thought to anybody, but development. We will start with that. Balancing the need of more housing needs in the area with the lack of keeping pace from infrastructure. How do you believe best to handle that going forward? Mr. Partee, I'll start with you on this question.
That's a great question, because that's what I'm running on. There has to be a balance, but prior to that, there has to be a sort of a pause. I'm not saying stop development totally. We cannot do that. But right now, for this instance, there needs to be some sort of planning moving forward. And that planning entails how we're going to service, how is our police department going to service the increase in population? The school board, for every 70% of renters have children. When they come online and they start living here, our school is going to be overburdened. The fire department, we're going to need to increase the fire department. There has to be a plan to accommodate the increase in population from all these, what I say, developments that are coming online. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Clark, same question. Balancing the needs of needing more housing with infrastructure like roads not keeping pace, how do you think best to handle in the future?
Yeah, this is a great question. In fact, this is one that we just recently had a conversation about at our most recent town board. One of our most recent town board meetings was we had staff prepare for us an analysis of housing. And so in that housing study, we saw that in the year 2021 and 2023, that was when most of the current housing that's coming out of the ground was approved either by right or by the board at the time. And so this board, because we saw that and understood that, have naturally slowed down development by being very picky with our projects and ensuring that our projects are multi-use projects that also bring jobs and retail to them as well. But also, people want to have a moratorium in the town of Huntersville, and what we also learned is it's really hard to do that. You can only have one for about 9 months, and it has to be something that is solving a problem, and the town doesn't have that problem. And so as we look forward to our next term, we already have the discussion in place about changing our ordinances to make it a little more challenging for multifamily housing, and to see what we can do to slow things down for the future as well.
Thank you. Given that transportation is certainly a conversation in town as well, do you support the proposed sales tax increase, which includes dollars for rail, dollars for buses and additional transportation options, and road improvements? Ms. Clark, I'll start with you on this one.
Thank you. You know, I do support the 1 cent sales tax, and I'm proud to because it will bring $12.5 million to the town of Huntersville in the first year. And so when you think about a $125 million budget, and when you're having to decide which roads to improve, which sidewalks to build, which greenways to build, that sales tax will be critical for us in moving this town forward. People talk to us all the time about infrastructure and intersections that need improvement, and that $12.5 million is going to be pivotal for us as a way to get that done. But then it's also a little bit about economic development too. When the red line comes here, it's going to help us grow our downtown into something amazing and something that we've been working on. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what it brings to us, because it's going to really help solidify the town of Huntersville as what I like to say, a big girl town. And so I'm happy to support it.
Thank you. Mr. Partee, same question. The proposed sales tax increase, do you agree, do you support it, which includes dollars for rail, dollars for buses and additional transportation options, and road improvements?
Yes, I was asked this question on television by WSOC, and my answer was that in the beginning, I was not for it. But then after reading the PAVE Act and seeing, as Mayor Christy said, we're going to get $12.5 million over the next 30 years, $700 million. We have CIP, projects that are in the pipeline. And as a person who has a master's in public administration, that is a lifeline to our town, and more importantly, to our roads, to our sidewalks, that we will be able to put into our budget. So therefore, I changed my mind in supporting the 1 cent sales tax. But here again, don't be fooled by the red line. As I said, that's a red herring. I don't foresee the red line coming to fruition for the next 10 years or maybe 15 years, because as you know, we have one track going back downtown. And the logistics in order to build that line is going to be tremendous, and the cost is going to be tremendous. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next popular discussion, budget. What would you say your top priorities during the next budget cycle would be if you were elected mayor? Mr. Partee, I'll start with you.
As a former commissioner, the budget process occurs when we have our retreat. The town managers, along with the commissioners and the mayor, come together and they decide on what the budget will be so that the town managers can operate and sustain the quality of life for the town of Huntersville. So therefore, to make the decision on raising taxes comes from the commissioners with the assistance or advice of the mayor when we get to that point. So right now, there is no way to judge how we're going to proceed until we go through the budget process, the retreat process from our town management.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Clark, same question for you. What would you say your top priorities during the next budget cycle would be if you were elected mayor?
Yeah, so one of the steps in approving a budget is the town manager kind of meets with all the department heads and determines what their priorities are, and they bring those to us. And when they bring those to us, you know, a lot of the things they ask for are additional staff, especially in our planning department, because they are overworked and overloaded. And so what my priority would be to make sure that we have enough staff to serve the needs of the residents of this town. And that is something that is consistently asked for by staff here, and I want to make sure we do that. And of course, to continue to invest in public safety and our police and fire. That is something I'm passionate about, and I want to keep making sure that we have those things in place in the future.
Thank you. The next topic will be safety. What do you believe to be the top safety needs throughout the town of Huntersville? Ms. Clark, I'll start with you.
The town of Huntersville is a participant in the Vision Zero project, and so that is a program that will help reduce accidents for vehicles and pedestrians and bikers. And so when you think about safety, I want to think about people being safe on our roadways, particularly when we've had 2 pretty serious accidents. And so the priority is making sure that our roads and greenways and sidewalks are safe places for people to get from where they need to go. We want to make sure that everyone can be with their family, go to the grocery store, go to school, and do the things they need to do safely. And that is that Vision Zero program, and our mobility plan is the way to get there.
Thank you. Mr. Partee, same question for you. What do you believe to be the top safety needs throughout the town of Huntersville?
We need to increase our police force and maintain a competitive salary for our police officers. As a retired investigator myself, and as a former commissioner, sitting up here, I always advocated, number one, for gun safety, and number two, safety in our greenways. Because as we become more dense in population, the more we're going to have an increase in crime. And this is not to put the fear in everybody, but it's just a fact of life. Therefore, we need to work with our fire department, our police department, to make sure that our citizens, our children, our schools are safe, and they are also, the safety of our children's paramount, but more importantly, the safety of this community.
Thank you, sir. Schools. What do you believe to be the top priorities within the schools that are within the town of Huntersville? Mr. Partee, I'll start with you.
Oh, wow. I haven't been in one of the schools. Well, as a matter of fact, I am chairman of the board for Aspire Trade High School, the only trade high school, charter school here in the state of North Carolina. And our priority there, our problems that we have there in the schools are, number one, the gummy bears, I should say, or the drugs that they bring in, vaping. They're also, we've had calls in for bomb threats. And I think what we need is to have a separate department, which we do, for police. I don't want to put police officers in the schools, but we need to monitor and stay on top of the issues of these kids that are, I won't say disruptive, but that are threatening the school safety of other students that are there.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Clark, what do you believe to be the top needs within the schools within the town of Huntersville?
I don't have enough time to answer this question as a CMS employee. I can tell you there's a lot of needs in the schools, but it starts with staffing. You know, the more staff you have to help students, the better the situation is. And that means more funding for our schools, of course, that comes from the state. And so the state has put that off. And so we want to make sure we're advocating to our legislators to push funding down to the local level. Our schools also need room to grow, and so we have those schools that are going to be built with the bonds, and we're working closely with CMS to make sure that those projects move forward as fast as possible. And so I'm looking forward to having a new elementary school in 2028 where I work. And then also the safety of our buildings. You know, our buildings are old, and so they have lots of issues with their HVAC and their AC. And so, you know, we're often told that it can't be fixed for several months because the parts are so old or things like that. And so I've been a staff member working in a media center that's 85 degrees, you know, on a 95-degree day, and it's not wonderful to have that happen. And so those are just some things that we could use help with at schools.
Thank you. Talking about green space, do you believe Huntersville is currently considering the appropriate amount of green space it has for the town? Ms. Clark, I'll start with you.
Yes, I think this is a fantastic question. We actually had our town staff analyze how much protected green space the town of Huntersville has, and it's around 16%. And so to me, that's not quite a high enough number. And so a goal that we have for the incoming board is to increase that number. And we are actively working with individuals around the town who want to sell their property to make sure that it's not going to be turned into a development, but it is going to be turned into preserved land or continue to be farmland. And so that is something that we have prioritized as this board and will continue to prioritize. We also took steps to protect the tree canopy by changing our ordinance and making it a little more challenging for developers to cut down trees when they're building. And so that is something that we want to continue to work on. And then we'll have an arborist starting in January of this coming year that will be there to help us with our tree canopy and making sure that we know when and where trees should go and what kind of trees are the best ones there. And so that long-term plan of having arborists will be critical to protecting our green space and increasing it.
Thank you. Mr. Partee, do you believe Huntersville is currently considering the appropriate amount of green space for the town?
I think it's appropriate, but I think we can do more. Right now, as I said before, the reason why I moved down here, the attractiveness of Huntersville was the tree canopy, the green space that was here, and we're losing that to development. I think we need to sit back and try to get a grasp on all this rezoning that we're doing in the area of all the forestry that's there. The forestry is being chopped down, and it's a shame. When I was a commissioner, I served on the Greenway Committee. And on the Greenway Committee, it's about expanding our trailways through all the suburban communities so people can enjoy, as they walk, the green and the foliage that we have here in Huntersville. So therefore, yes, as mayor, I think it's very important that we maintain and even also increase our green space.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Moving to relationships. One of the key roles for mayor is to manage relationships. Why do you think you are the best option? Ms. Clark?
Thank you. Well, I have served in public office before. I have really strong relationships across the board in the state legislature, the school board, the county commission, and with other towns. Mayor Rusty Knox and Mayor Woody Washam and I have formed an alliance, and we have a regional plan as we are mayors moving forward. And so that's something that has been a priority for me. But also, people always talk about the letter beside our name, and I think that was something I was proud to put that aside for this term and to continue to work with people across the aisle to do things like advocate for the sales tax and to make sure that we have the resources to build things in this town, like the bridge that's going to cross 73 and other things like that. I am known to be a level-headed and calm person, and that is a strength of mine, and that is something that helps me build relationships because I am able to put our differences aside and find common ground across the aisle or across any other arena.
Thank you. Mr. Partee, one of the key roles of mayor is to manage relationships. Why do you think you are the best choice?
I have over 40 years of experience within the law enforcement area community. When you're in law enforcement, crime does not have or does not discriminate on any socioeconomic level. Therefore, to socialize or to go into these communities, you have to have the relationships. You have to know the culture that you're working with. You have to know the victims that you're working with. You need to have the sensitivity to work within the area of solving a crime. My relationships that I have developed over the course of the years cross those lines. And I think it's very important also working on another level as an elected official with an establishing relationship with your representatives up in Raleigh, and not on a partisan level, but on a bipartisan level, because it takes crossing over and communication and working together to get something accomplished.
Thank you. Back to schools. Do you believe charter schools offer additional opportunities for the community in the future? Ms. Clark?
Yes, we have a lot of charter schools in the town of Huntersville, and they are successful. And I have a lot of co-workers, I guess, that have children that attend charter schools. And so I'm happy to have them continue to invest with us in the town. Lake Lorman Charter and the town share the tennis courts and help, and that's just another way that our facilities and resources for the town continue to grow by those partnerships. And so I do believe that parents should have a choice in where their children should go. My stepchildren both attended a charter school, and for them, that was the right choice. And so I know that a public school is not always the best thing for every kid, and so sometimes they do need a place to go. Do I think that the municipality should start their own charter school? No, I do not, because that would be detrimental to our balanced budget, but the ones that are here are doing a good job in establishing themselves and working with us, and I think they should keep doing it.
Thank you. Mr. Partee, do you believe charter schools offer additional opportunities for the community in the future?
Absolutely, 100%. As I said before, I sit on the board, I'm chairman of the board for the Aspire Trade High School. If you haven't passed by the high school, we're right next to Hopewell High School. It's a charter school for trade, and it's very important because there are a lot of students who are not going to college, and we offer the opportunity for them to get into HVAC, welding, automotive, electronics, medical, and these are students coming in who, at the beginning, have low self-esteem, but as they graduate through the other courses and they become proficient in their craft, you can see the level of esteem building up. And I think it's very important that we have another opportunity, another avenue for students who are not going to go to college to learn and to make an exceptional amount of money. As a matter of fact, when they graduate, they'll be certified. We're in the planning now having to get them a vehicle so they can go to college, go to work. So that's my passion, charter school, especially the charter school, Aspire Trade High School. Go online and look us up. Thank you.
Thank you. E-bikes. Do you have any concerns with the large increase of users of these vehicles throughout the town? Mr. Partee?
Wow. I'm like Rip Van Winkle. I haven't even seen an e-bike. Transportation is very important to get back and forth. I know downtown, well, uptown, they have scooters, they have e-bikes. If it's done properly and safely, and our police department has no problem with it, then we can study the effectiveness of the e-bikes in Huntersville. Huntersville's very small. I mean, you can walk to certain venues, but I will go by the advice of a committee that we might put together to study the e-bikes.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Clark, same question. E-bikes. Do you have any concern with the large increase of users of these vehicles throughout the town?
One feedback we've gotten from residents of the town is that the e-bikes are on the greenways and making them a little less safe. And so the towns of Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson are already talking about how we can work on our greenways to make sure that there is a system in place to make sure that both the e-bike and the pedestrian can be there together. In fact, I hope to be one of those folks that has an e-bike that rides my bike from my house to Town Hall one day. And so I'm looking forward to continuing to work with those three towns to make sure that we have a plan in place. That was an unexpected thing on our greenways, but I also think it's an amazing thing because it means people are using our greenways and taking advantage of that and getting off the road.
Thank you. If you had your way, what would Huntersville look like in 5 years? Ms. Clark?
In 5 years, I hope that our downtown is a thriving and beautiful place for people to come and visit. I know everyone loves to go to Brookdale, and it creates a lot of traffic there, but I want them also to come to our downtown. I want there to be art and retail and restaurants here that people are attracted to, and we are already well on the way to having those things here. And I am excited to continue to work for those things in the future. It's something that the town manager and I are closely aligned on. And so we have projects in the works that we want to complete. And so I want to be able to serve again and push those projects forward because I know people want a revitalized downtown. And they want a beautiful downtown and a place they can enjoy and walk and have places to hang out with their families, not just Veterans Park. And so I look forward to that happening in 5 years, at least 5 years, if not sooner.
Thank you. Mr. Partee, if you had your way, what would Huntersville look like in 5 years?
Well, let me just give a shout out to the former participants in the downtown committee. That would be Lee Holman, who was vice chair, along with Sarah McCauley. We had Amy Kovacs, who was a former commissioner, who was part of that advisory council. We have Amy Holman, Linda Jones, Janelle Harris. These folks 4 years ago came up with a plan and came up with a design that we are enjoying right now. And I think we owe them a compliment and a thanks because they were the architects of what we're going to enjoy 5 years from now. So I just want to put that out. And enjoying the comforts, the restaurants that I'm looking forward to is on their shoulders.
Thank you. If you could add one thing tomorrow to the town of Huntersville, what would that be? Mr. Partee?
Can you repeat that again?
If you could add one thing tomorrow to the town of Huntersville, what would that be?
Add. Well, as mayor, I would want the commissioners would have to make that decision. Just adding the resources that's needed when I mean resources, I mean to make sure that the fire department, the police department, our medics have the resources to serve and protect our community. And I would work with them, work with town management to make sure that that comes to fruition.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Clark, same question for you. If you could add one thing tomorrow to the town of Huntersville, what would that be?
One thing that I would want to add, I think I mentioned I have the dream of being the mayor that rides my bike from my house to here, and the Greenway does not go to my house. There's no plan for the Greenway to go anywhere near my neighborhood. And so I would love to have that, again, I would love to have that extended and gone that way. I think we have not fully developed where I think the Greenway should go to make sure that we can connect all sides of the town of Huntersville, because I really want people to be able to get from where they want to go safely and not have to use their car. And I also want to be one of those people who does that very same thing. So that's my dream, is to have a long and beautiful Greenway to all corners of the town.
Thank you. Working with state representatives, what priorities would you like to work on with the other local state representatives while you are mayor? Ms. Clark, I'll ask you that question first.
You know, for a long time, the town of Huntersville has been working to have a magistrate up here. And so that has been something that even I worked as a state legislator, worked on that when I was there. We are continuing to try to advocate for that. And so I do think that our state legislature needs to step in and bring the magistrate to the town of Huntersville. Our court system has denied us that thus far, and so I want them to continue to do that. If I could ask of anything of the General Assembly, I would advocate for them to improve the way NCDOT works so that they can get to work on the roads that they're responsible for, because we have to wait a really long time for roads to be improved, and that's because NCDOT is so inefficient and underfunded. And so even when I was there, that was a topic of conversation, and I think it continues to be. And those two things, I think, would be at the top of my priority list.
Thank you. Mr. Partee, what priorities would you like to work with our local state reps on during your time as mayor?
Well, in the addition with working with the mayors of Mint Hill, Concord, Mooresville, I think it's appropriate or imperative that we work with our representatives in Raleigh to come up with a plan to how we're going to delay development and monitor the zoning changes that's really, I wouldn't say destroy, but overcrowding our towns. There has to be some sort of lobbying that we need to do as far as mayors to change the laws. And that's one of the priorities I would like to institute as mayor. Deferring development, we can't stop development, but at least we can institute or try to get some legislation so that towns can protect their citizens and protect our tree canopy.
Thank you. Are there any types of development you believe the town of Huntersville needs more of? Mr. Partee, I'll ask you first.
Negative. And I say negative because right now, ladies and gentlemen, right above Sanford, near Caldwell Station, there's a group of apartments that are abandoned and dilapidated. You can't see it from the road, but I call them zombie apartments. The town is very well aware of it. I've spoken with our town managers on how we're going to deal with the problem that's there, because right now it's open to vandals, it's open to homeless, it's open to squatters. There's no lights, there's no running water, and there's mold growing in the buildings right now. That is priority, that has to be addressed. It's out of sight, out of mind, but it's there. And right now, that's what we need, that's what I need to work with our town management to see how we can take over that development, possibly, or turn it into affordable housing. But right now, it's sitting there abandoned, it's got chain around the gate. So that's a priority that I want to address.
Thank you. Ms. Clark, are there any types of development that you believe the town of Huntersville needs more of?
Without a doubt, it's affordable housing. That is something where the town of Huntersville has fallen behind. Cornelius and Davidson have had years of investment in making sure their affordable housing is on a pathway, and the town of Huntersville had a committee that started, and we're picking up some of the things that that committee had ideas for, but really what we need to focus on is where can we have affordable housing in our town? Because we, in our housing and need assessment, we showed that about 80% of the people that work in Huntersville don't live here, and that's because they can't afford to live here. And so we know that we need to focus on making sure that those people have a place to live in this town, because if they're gonna work here, we also want them to live here. And so that includes figuring out unique and creative ways to have a place for people to live. Our firefighters, police officers, teachers, waitresses, Starbucks employees, you name it, those people who are making it paycheck to paycheck need an affordable place to live in the town of Huntersville.
Thank you. And of course, the next question I got was about affordable housing. And it's a pretty basic one. What do we do now? And Mr. Partee, I'll start with you on this one as well.
I think what we do now is with partnerships. I mean, partnerships with Habitat for Humanity, which is very important, and not only important, but the cost effectiveness is doable. Partnering with other developers that come in here, but not putting a squeeze on them, but seeing what they can give as far as affordable housing within their complex. As I said before, right now we have a huge complex over here north of Sanford, and we have to look into that because right now it's a complex that I believe, with the right funding, state funding, federal funding, that we can make livable and possibly affordable for those that want to live and work in here in Huntersville.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Clark, same question. Affordable housing. What do we do now?
So we actually have a project in the works right now that's going to come up before the board, hopefully later this month, that is going to be a co-op affordable housing project. And so that project is one where we, that group of people who are developing that are working for a nonprofit partner. And that is part of the coalition of what we need to build is we need to make sure that the three towns of Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson are working together as in a coalition to find places for more affordable housing. And then we did have our housing needs assessment done, and that group that came in and studied that pointed out to us places within the town of Huntersville that meet the HUD requirements for affordable housing, and they are from all ends of the town of Huntersville. And so we need to really look closely at those and find partners to help us develop those, because there is places that could be, and that abandoned development that we are actively working on, and this getting fined every day, don't worry, we're on it, is one of the places we have our eye on for the future. And so having those partnerships is critical to that success of affordable housing.
Thank you. What is your favorite thing about Huntersville? Ms. Clark?
My favorite question, and I'm going to answer it the same way that I answered the last time you asked me, which is the people that live here, right? Huntersville is a beautifully diverse community. I see the diverse families at my school, and they bring such vibrance to our community. We're actually having our very first Diwali celebration here on Saturday, and so the Indian families that have moved here have taken root and are bringing their culture to us. And as we continue to grow and people from all walks of life come here, no matter where they are from, they bring something beautiful to our town. And I love that they choose the town of Huntersville. It always makes me excited. The first thing I always ask people when they move here is, why did you choose Huntersville? They almost always say the greenways and the lake. But I hope one day they'll say the beauty of the downtown and the fact that it's a welcoming and comfortable and safe place for people to live.
Thank you. Mr. Partee, what is your favorite thing about Huntersville?
Birkdale Village. Coming from a high-density community up in New York, I know that the natives here, I know you can appreciate it, but it's more so as a New Yorker living here in Huntersville, the green space, the openness, the fresh air, the quietness is something that I love and I treasure. My wife and I, when we came here to Huntersville, the realtor took us to Birkdale Village in 2004. Some of you who have been here in 2004, Birkdale Village looked like Back to the Future. And when we sat down and we had a meal and we just looked around and we like, this is home right here. We built our house over in Ladder Springs across from Hopewell High School. And like I said before, it's just the lack of density, the greenery, the quietness is something that I treasure. And also, I'd never seen live hummingbirds until I came down here.
Thank you. We appreciate you both being here tonight. I've got one more question for you, and then we are going to take a break here in the room, and we will also offer the opportunity for others that are running for elected positions that affect the town of Huntersville and will be on the ballot. They'll have their opportunity to speak as well. We'll also, as mentioned in the beginning from Brian Sisson, we'll hear from Larry Shaheen on the other side of the transportation conversation. But Mr. Partee, starting with you on this last question, why should people vote for you?
The voters should vote for me because one of my best attributes is listening. And as a former commissioner, you have to listen to the public because we represent them. When I was a police officer and I was giving out tickets, the person would say, well, I pay your salary. Why are you giving me a ticket? The same thing as elected official. You pay our salary up here, but you also elect us to represent you and your interests. When I was up here, I voted against Birkdale. When I was up here, I voted against the Lagoon. When I was up here, I voted against another community over on Beatty's Ford Road because the public came in here, they spoke publicly, and they said, we do not want it. Myself, as the next mayor, I think it's important that you pick a board of commissioners who are about the same thing, listening to the community and voting on on their needs and not always the needs of the developer. And also, I did not take one donation from developers, and you can fact check that.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Clark, why should people vote for you?
This is a great question. When I first got elected, the first thing I said to the town manager and staff here was like, what is the to-do list? What are the things that need to be done? And there were a lot of things left by the previous board that had been left undone. And so I said, let's get these things done. And so I'm a decision maker and I'm a collaborator. And so I worked with the board to make sure that we could get as much done as possible and not just let things languish. When you kick something down the can, the residents get frustrated. And so, or kick the can down the road, I should say, residents get frustrated. And so when you have to have someone who's the leader, who's gonna be willing to make decisions, even the tough ones. But also you have to have someone who's a leader who is a kind heart and a thoughtful heart and a respectful heart. And so the town board, the 7 of us actually have received an award for civility, and that's because we made an agreement. We might disagree with each other, but we will always be the we before me, and that we includes the residents of this town, and that is why I should be the next mayor.
Thank you both again for being willing to come here and answer questions that people have for you. No doubt you have many other stops along the campaign trail. We encourage everyone to continue to ask questions and obviously come out and vote. Radio fan, we're going to take a break. And inside the room, though, again, we are going to allow for the others that are here that are running for office. And then also we'll give Mr. Shaheen a moment as well to speak. Thank you. So if you're running for office, come on up here. We'll start here, and then Larry, we'll let you wrap up the break. But come on up here real quick. You can use the podium and say hello. Introduce yourself to the
Fountain while you're moving around. If I can get everybody to listen up here for a second. Let's see. Hey, go ahead, Bill. All right, thank you very much. We have a little break here while they're shifting around. I'm Bill Fountain. I'm running for the CMS School Board. I'm a Christian husband, father, grandfather, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, business manager, and a licensed North Carolina teacher for 10 years. And I'm running for school board District 1, which includes Huntersville. And for too long, I've watched CMS put social and political agenda ahead of academic excellence. And some of the ways you can see that is about 2/3 of the students are not meeting the state standard. And not only that, but it undermines the things like, I guess what you call it, it underlines your value, the family values that we see at home, tolerates code of student conduct violations, and steers some children toward a victimhood mindset. And I say, hey, it's time to do something different. And I think that is, the first one is to have better behavior in the classroom. Second thing is to start talking about character. We can use, instead of talking so much about social emotional learning, let's shift that to focus on character development, where we talk about values like integrity, like resilience, kindness, and fortitude. Those types of things I think are contagious to the children. They will make their behavior better. It'll make teachers a lot easier, and it may be something they're not getting at home. So I have the teamwork, leadership, and the in-the-classroom experience to be an effective change agent to prepare our students for better success, and also empower parents, promote school choice, and maintain traditional values in the classroom. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate you coming by. Come on up, sir. Introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ricky Robbins. I'm going to be a candidate for sheriff in Mecklenburg County. I'm a native Charlottean, attended Myers Park High School, Central Piedmont Community College, and UNCC. I've been in law enforcement for over 40 years. Third of my career spent working up here in Huntersville in the northern end of the county as a Mecklenburg County police officer, so I'm real familiar with Huntersville. Enjoy law enforcement. I have 4 priorities going into office. The first one is going to be safety for the staff and inmates. Everybody deserves to work in a place where they feel safe and secure. Second one is going to be retention and recruitment. If employees feel valued and we have a place where they can come, they feel safe, then that's going to help in the retention. It's also going to help with recruitment because other people will come and work where employees feel like they enjoy working, they feel valued, and are valued to the community. The third and the biggest thing that I want to do going into office is to reopen the Juvenile Detention Center. Mecklenburg County is the largest populated county in North Carolina. There's no reason why we don't have a juvenile detention center. But the juvenile detention center being closed, when juveniles are arrested, that is an imposition. Number one, we're transferring a juvenile to the closest facility, which could be 2 to 3 hours away, up in Asheville, down near the coast. The juvenile is already troubled, so when you take them out of their hometown, their environment, that's something else we have to deal with. We know that most juveniles that are arrested are coming from a low-income area. That's putting a super burden on the families because families can't afford to travel across town to see the juvenile, so we know that they're not going to be able to travel out of this county to other counties. The third thing that it does is also it's a financial burden to you as citizens of Mecklenburg County because anytime we transport a juvenile out of Mecklenburg County, that takes 2 deputies off the road. That's a whole full day because they're going to be gone 1 day traveling, doing paperwork, coming back. That's 2 deputies. Every time that juvenile has to come to court, whatever county we have them stationed at, they're not going to bring them back. So that's 2 more days that you send in officers back up to get them, bring them back to court. Now think if that happens 2 or 3 times in a 24-hour shift and they're going 3 different ways. The last and most important thing is to make sure that I'm transparent throughout the day. I want to make sure that anything that happens when I'm in office, that you hear and you know about it when it happens. People deserve to know what's happening right now. I believe in Monday morning quarterbacking is old. I believe in being out when it happens. In my career, if you look, I've been out on these streets in the last 15 to 20 years at every major incident that has occurred in Mecklenburg County. If you're up front, you're out front, you get the support of the citizens and you get problems solved a whole lot quicker. So I'd appreciate your support and also your vote when it comes time to vote for the sheriff of Mecklenburg County. Thank you, Ricky Robbins.
If we could get the candidates also to make their way up here that are going to be seating up here during the next round, that would be great. And we have a couple more folks here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Alamy. I'm here on behalf of my fiance, Caleb Newman. He's running for Superior Court Judge. He couldn't make it tonight because he's at a fundraiser for Anita Earls, which is very exciting. He is running for District 26C, which encompasses Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson. We're both Huntersville residents, so really excited to be talking to you all tonight. He has over a decade of public service experience, first as a federal public defender here in Charlotte, and then now as a prosecutor in Rowan County. He is currently a senior assistant district attorney, so it's a mouthful, and he is currently prosecuting the worst of the worst type of crime. So that's everything from rapes, drug trafficking, high-level felonies. He has a lot of experience in that. So please visit his website, Newman for Judge. His election is going to be in, his primary election is going to be in March. It is March 3rd, so we would love to have your support and have your vote. Thank you so much.
Good evening. I'm Joy Patterson. I'm here representing Charlita Hatch tonight. She is running for District 1 School Board. I am a product of CMS schools. I'm married to a CMS teacher, and I have 2 children in CMS. So I definitely know that Charlita has exactly what we need. I've known her for over 20 years, and I have also served with her in the Junior League of Charlotte, where she has been a president during the pandemic. Currently, she is leading data for the city of Charlotte. Chief Data and Analytics Officer, so she definitely will be a data-driven leader for us. She is a community leader. As I mentioned, she has been the president of the Junior League of Charlotte and held many other leadership positions in the community. She's also a children's book author. She has 3 books that she's written, and she is really preparing us for the future. So when you think about Charlita Hatch, Hatch is not just her last name, it's also an acronym for Helping Advance with Trust, Care, and Hope. So when you think about Charlita Hatch, think about that. Helping advance with trust, care, and hope. She has real solutions, real heart. She's for every child, every family, and every school. And she is not just for Charlotte, she's also from Charlotte. So please remember, Charlita Hatch for District 1, Charlotte School Board. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to have Mr. Shaheen come up to talk about the transportation. Again, as iterated from the jump, Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce does not take a position on the transit tax. Mr. Sisson personally had his comments, and then Mr. Shaheen will come up.
Thank you. And thank you, WSIC and the Chamber, for allowing this opportunity today. And again, of course, thank you to the candidates who are willing to serve their time. As my name is Larry Shaheen. I'm an attorney at the McIntosh Law Firm, and I've done that now for about 6 years, but for 8 years prior to that, I was an elected consultant and worked on campaigns across the region and state. It may surprise you to hear that a Republican is up here asking you to invest in our community through taxes, but that's what I'm doing tonight. And I think Mr. Sisson is a friend, and I have many friends who I disagree with on this issue. I work to help his wife and him be successful in this community, and I wish him much success moving forward. We're going to be friends after this referendum is over, and good, serious people can disagree. But there were a few inaccuracies that were stated that I want to address first, and then I want to talk about this very quickly. The bill that is before this community, the PAVE Act, was actually written by a gentleman and myself. His name's Keenan Huey. He is a former deputy secretary of NC Department of Revenue and General Counsel. He's probably the most qualified individual to write any bill in the history of the state. And to hear someone disparage the work that he's done personally is a little bit offensive to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Kanan's good name out there to make sure folks understand that a very qualified individual wrote this bill. Secondarily, I'm going to draw your attention to the fact that in the actual bill itself, there is a guarantee that the red line has to be built before anything else can be built. Section 4.9, subsection 2. If you go to the PAVE Act and read for itself, it says that 50% of the red line has to be completed before they can actually complete any other line within the rest of this community. So yes, there is a guarantee that the red line is going to be built, and it's going to have to get built for them in Charlotte and anywhere else to be able to build it. When you're dealing with this issue and you're having a conversation about this issue and about sales tax, you know, I don't often like to tell people to look to South Carolina because I'm not from there, but every now and again you got to look down south to look at our friends in York County who passed Pennies for Progress 25 years ago. And that's why there's 8 lanes on the highway down there. Now, that may not be the way we solve our problems up here, but it's the way they solved them down there. So if it's good enough for those Republicans down in York County, I think it's good enough for us up here in Mecklenburg County. But ultimately, one of the things I really want to address for everybody here tonight about the PAVE Act is that more than anything else, it's good government. It has taken 5 years for this community to get on the next page about how it's going to work together to be able to invest in our transportation infrastructure needs. 5 years. City of Charlotte moved forward with a plan called Charlotte Moves, and North Mecklenburg couldn't get on board with that. And that was the best thing North Mecklenburg ever did. because that plan did not invest in our road infrastructure and it did not invest in our communities. It invested in Charlotte. And now, after the work of managers and mayors like Mayor Clark and others who were a part of this progress, we see a bill that has been supported by Republicans and Democrats across the state. How often do we get to say that we get to vote for something that 148 of the 170 North Carolina legislators and 85% of our local electeds, not only led by leadership in the House and Senate, but by Governor Cooper and Lieutenant Governor Rachel Hunt, in addition to being supported by folks like the Black Political Caucus and our local business community. We have seen our community come together for a plan that is going to invest over $19.5 billion into our community. 40% for roads, 40% for rail, and 40% for bus. I'm sorry, but with 157 people moving here every day, we have to have the resources. And let's be clear, the state will never be able to help us get out of our problems. In 2008, the Committee on 21 identified almost $12 billion in infrastructure needs in Mecklenburg County alone. Last year, North Carolina identified $36 billion in needs across the state. Wonder how much the state spends on transportation every year to build roads and do all kinds of new stuff? $2 billion. And we have a corridor cap here in Mecklenburg County. We'll only ever get $650 million. So the state ain't coming. And let's see, have we looked at our federal government lately? Do we think that they're going to have the resources to be able to invest what we need here in our community? No, it ain't there. So we have two questions to ask ourselves as a community. We're going to have 1 million people show up here in 10 years. Are we going to invest in ourselves and be able to take the control we need to be able to give our towns the ability to build roads and let our community build rail? And finally, take the step into the 21st century as a major city. I ask you to vote for this referendum on November 4th. I ask you to do it with the rest of your community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry. And now to the town board candidates. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are excited to have you all. Obviously, there's quite a few more people here at the front this time than a little bit earlier. So all of the candidates are aware of this. The messaging was sent out to them beforehand. I will not be asking all 9 of them the same question. For multiple reasons. However, we will certainly have a lively conversation. There will be only 2 times where you all get the same question, and that will be the first and the last question. So I will start from left to right, and I'm going to end right to left, as I did during the first round. Mr. Boone, please introduce yourself and answer the question, why are you running for office?
First of all, thank you for WSIC and the Chamber for holding this forum, and I'd also like to congratulate my opponents for throwing their hat into this ring and being willing to serve the town of Huntersville. And the citizens, thank you for coming out tonight. My name is Dan Boone, and I've lived here for 25 years. I grew up in a military family. We moved every 2 years. 25 years ago, this became my hometown. I got involved in local politics by getting on the Board of Adjustment, followed by the Planning Board, and from there, I became a 4-term commissioner for the town of Huntersville. During those 4 terms, I never raised your taxes one time. Outside of being a commissioner, I was one of the original members of the old Huntersville Historic Society, and when I was a major part of restoring the old jail, the oldest building in Huntersville. I'm also on the board of the U Torrance House and Store. I'm on the board of the North Mecklenburg Crime Stoppers, and presently, I am the co-president of the Rotary Club of Lake Norman, Huntersville. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Sir, please introduce yourself, and why are you running for office?
Hello, my name is Scott Coronet. I have always been very civic-minded. When I was in high school, I was a nerd, and I started a nonprofit to make a track and field for my school, and there is now a track and field in my small town. I lived in Wyoming, where I grew up. I moved to Iowa to go to school, where I met my spouse, and we had our daughter. I loved it there, but I started coming out here for work, and this actually is where it really feels like home. So we moved here 10 years ago. With my daughter took her first steps here. I fell in love with the town. I fell in love with the people, the trees. Everything here was this is where it really feels like home, and this is what I want to help make Huntersville feel like home to everybody else. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself, and why are you running for office?
Well, first, I'd like to thank the Chamber and WSIC for the opportunity. Good evening. My name is Frank Gammon. I'm here to get your vote for the Huntersville Town Board of Commissioners. I'm a 30-year resident of the town of Huntersville. Been married to the same lady for 51 years. We had 2 great children, and they've given us 6 great-grandchildren. I have 2 decades or more of decision-making and leadership experience as an Army officer, active duty Army officer, and nearly a decade of experience in this town working with the town staff and the town board on 3 different advisory boards. I spent 2.5 years on the Greenway Trail and Bikeway. I spent 6 years on the planning board where I was the vice chair for 2 of those. And concurrently, I was the planning board rep on the ordinance advisory board for 4.5 years. I don't know everything, but I know who to ask in this town when I don't, and more importantly, they know me. Thank you.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself and why are you running for town board?
Hey everyone, my name is Jennifer Hunt. I am currently serving as a commissioner and am your mayor pro tem since 2023, and I'm here to ask for your vote again tonight. I moved to Huntersville from Western New York in 2012 so I could start my teaching career. I taught at Hopewell High School for 4 years and then Lake Norman Charter for 6 years. And now I'm currently a marketing professional for a forestry firm in Charlotte. I have volunteered with the Angels and Sparrows Pathways program, which is a wonderful program here in town. And I also work closely with the folks over at Caterpillar Ministries to help the underserved residents in that community. As a commissioner, I serve on several additional committees, including the town's first Environmental Sustainability Committee, which our board created in 2024. I also serve as the liaison to the Huntersville Family Fitness and Aquatics Committee, as well as the CMS Capital Bonds Committee. My priorities as a commissioner have been environmental stewardship, affordable housing, public safety, and progress with purpose. I'm excited to talk to you about those things more this evening.
Thank you.
Good evening. I am Commissioner Edwin Quarles. I'm also the 12th Congressional District Commissioner for the Department of Veteran Affairs. I'm an Air Force veteran who served in Desert Storm, and I was around the burn pits. And I have some service-connected internal disabilities that cannot be reversed. I have not had a pain-free day since the mid-1990s. In my first term, I learned how to govern. I have the reputation for standing up for public service, our veterans, and which isn't an easy role. I built a strong reputation for being the voice for those who sometimes go unheard. My biggest asset is I know how to build trust and relationships. In 2023, the things that you asked for, I delivered on them. Promises made, promises kept. I championed the Veteran Service Office that will be opened up soon right behind us in the new town hall. I implemented the Huntersville inaugural Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. I partnered with small business owners. I built important intergovernmental relationships with other electeds, and I've delivered smart growth and economic development.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, please introduce yourself and why are you running for office?
Good evening, everyone. Oh, we can do better than that. Come on now, because I'm that person. I am. Thank you, thank you. My name is LaToya Rivers. I am currently serving as your town board commissioner. However, I am asking tonight for your vote for re-election to serve again. During my first term, I learned a lot. And when I started out advocating for an underserved community, which is one of the oldest communities that was standing in the town of Huntersville. I'm a native here, born and raised. My family was one of the first families originated in the Pottstown community. So it was important to have a seat at the table and be a voice for a community that felt like they didn't have a voice for a very long time. Now I'm here to continue that work, but also champion for affordable housing, making sure that we have smart growth and smart development decisions. So I am asking you tonight for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, please introduce yourself and why are you running for office?
Good evening, everybody. First off, thank you, Justin, for moderating this evening, and Bill, thank you. My name is Heather Smallwood, and I have lived here in Huntersville for 20 years with my husband and both of my children. I'm from just up the road, actually, in Wilkesboro, so I'm a native North Carolinian. I have a junior in college and a junior still in high school here, and I have been extremely involved in our schools as a stay-at-home mom. And through that experience, I've served on 2 PTA boards as vice president of fundraising, and I've taken those responsibilities extremely important in my eyes. I'm currently on the committee with Ambassador Christian School, where we're striving to raise money to send every football player and every cheerleader to Dublin, Ireland next year. We want every student to be able to afford to go to that. no matter their financial situation. So thank you for having me.
Sir, please introduce yourself, and why are you running for office?
No problem. Progress. It's a simple word, but what does it really mean? It means moving forward, working together towards a better future. Huntersville is now a thriving community of 70,000 residents, and we've seen some remarkable progress over the last couple of years. I have been fortunate enough to serve alongside dedicated colleagues who share the goal of making Huntersville a better place to live, work, play, and yes, thrive. Together, we have worked hard to address today's challenges while planning responsibly for the growth ahead. My name is Nick Walsh, and I'm running to continue the good work with our team on behalf of Huntersville. And I appreciate you guys listening to us tonight.
Thank you so much. And again, we will not be asking all of the same question to all candidates, so we will go back and forth between a few. Mr. Gammon, I'm going to start with you on the first question. What do you believe to be some of the top priorities for the upcoming budget for the town of Huntersville?
Well, first and foremost is roads. And I think everybody would agree with that, with the traffic problems. So the town board has set out, and regardless of the town board, I don't disagree with the priorities they set out for the roads. But what else would I say? My roads is all I got.
Thank you. Ms. Hunt, what do you believe to be the top priorities for the upcoming budget for the town of Huntersville?
Well, certainly we need to keep investing in our infrastructure, right? And it's simply not just infrastructure of roads, greenway, sidewalks, but also the infrastructure for our public servants. So police, fire, and those kinds of groups. We also want to continue to invest in affordable housing. And so as Mayor Clark alluded to earlier, we were the first group to invest in a study to learn more about affordable housing opportunities in Huntersville, and that's something that we're going to continue working on. I'd also like to see us invest more in our budget for our green spaces, and so one of the things that we're talking about doing is investing in a tree survey or a tree study so that we can get a better sense of where we are with our tree canopy. The last time we looked at that, it was estimated to be about a 2% loss, which if you've looked around town lately, that probably doesn't feel accurate anymore. And so we would like to also invest in checking that out so that helps us better understand how we can conserve and preserve more of our green spaces.
Thank you. Ms. Smallwood, what do you believe to be the top priorities for the upcoming budget for the town of Huntersville?
Yes, I do believe that our police are something that we definitely need to continue investing in, as well as our school resource officers. I know that there's been a budget for 3 to be implemented into our schools, and that's great, but we've got to get the police on the street before we can get them into our schools. I also believe affordable housing is important, but it cannot be the town's project. It could be worked in a partnership maybe, but we need to be looking at where and how our money is being spent, as well as giving away taxpayers' properties to do it. I believe that's not the right way either.
Thank you. Ms. Rivers, how do you believe best to handle the growing development through the town of Huntersville in the future?
So one of my key priorities is smart growth. And smart growth is about process. And the process has to make sense. And growth that benefits everyone and not just a few. And what I mean by that is what we have to do, we have 3 components that we need. Build responsibly, invest in housing, jobs, and infrastructure. Protect and preserve what matters. Keep our green spaces, historic and underserved neighborhoods, focus on affordability and a strong local identity. And create fairness. Make sure every resident, young, old, the 1%, middle class, and everyone can share in the benefits of that growth.
Thank you. Mr. Boone, how do you believe it best to handle growth in the future in the town of Huntersville?
In my opinion, the best way the town could continue, control growth is to keep the developers to the ordinances. And the example for this, if the buffer says 80 feet, keep the buffer at 80 feet. Don't make a modification to 40 feet. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Coronet, how do you believe it best to handle growth in the future in the town of Huntersville?
I think big projects that are brought through by right should be reviewed by the board. I don't think we should be rubber stamping those through. I do think we need to follow our ordinances to make sure that we are following them the way they were designed. And I need to make sure that we shouldn't just be making a baseline, following the baseline of our requirements. I think we have the opportunity to have the upper hand to make sure that we're bringing in truly remarkable projects that could really impact the beauty of Huntersville.
Thank you. Mr. Quarles, do you believe a tax increase may be necessary in the town of Huntersville in the upcoming budget?
Excellent question. I don't believe a town increase is necessary in the upcoming budget because we have not raised taxes in 2025 or 2026. And this board is very strong on economic development. And the things that we've done since we've been on board, there's no need for us to raise taxes. We understand bringing in mixed-use development is what pays our bills. We've found the formula on how to keep our taxes low. Of the top 25 municipalities in the state of North Carolina, hope Bill's not keep. Huntersville is the 16th largest municipality in the state, and we have the lowest personal property tax of all of those. So again, we have done a masterful job in keeping taxes low, and there's no need to raise taxes.
Mr. Walsh, do you believe a tax increase may be necessary in the upcoming budget for the town of Huntersville?
The short answer is potentially not. However, until we actually get into the budget cycle and decide what our needs are and what we're trying to accomplish as a town to grow and to support public safety, infrastructure, downtown redevelopment, affordable housing, et cetera, we'll just have to look at that point. I believe, though, if the transit tax goes through, that's an additional $12.5 million a year towards our roads and infrastructure, which will help keep the pressure off of raising taxes for the town.
Thank you. Ms. Rivers, do you believe a tax increase may be necessary in the upcoming budget?
Okay, so taxes had not been raised in close to a decade. And back in 2023, when we took office, we inherited tax increase. But let's look at it from this perspective. In 2010, the population for Huntersville was 46,773. In 2020, the population was 61,376. And currently, we're at 70,000. So yes, there was a tax increase. I do not feel that we need to have one for 25 and 26, as we have already invested. And let's look at the return on that investment. We now have a full-time fire department in-house that has never happened before. We also have 10 sworn police officers. We just recently increased the pay rate to $4,800 so that we can have retention for our police officers. So I think with what we've done thus far has created a great return. We do not need to increase our tax rate.
Thank you. Ms. Hunt, do you believe a tax increase may be necessary in the upcoming budget?
The short answer is I hope not, but unfortunately, we have to evaluate our revenue streams, right? So that could be things like grants, which we know the federal government is kind of clawing those back, but things like grants, the other revenue streams like Commissioner Walsh mentioned a moment ago, if the transit tax passes, that's another $12.5 million that we can use for our, for our roads. I don't believe it will be necessary because, as my colleagues have already alluded to, we have been able to do a significant amount with very little. And so for the small tax increase that we had the last year, we have been able to do a significant amount with that. We have a full-time fire department. We hired more police officers. We budgeted for school resource officers. We are hiring an arborist and a veteran service officer. So we are making the most out of the resources that we have now.
Thank you. Mr. Gammon, what do you believe the current safety needs are for the town of Huntersville?
First and foremost is to fill out our police force. The board, previous board, well, not previous board, last year we added 10 new officers to the police department, and this year we're 20 short. Is the last what I was told today when I was sat down with the police. So priority is to fill those police slots. The other priorities are, to this board's credit, they put three SROs in the budget for next year for the elementary schools, one at each. But I think in this day and time, we need an SRO in every one of our schools, not just one split between the two. It doesn't take anybody to look and say there's no police car here. We should protect our children. And we should provide our officers and all our first responders, the fire department also, with all the equipment they need to keep the people safe in this town, because Huntersville citizens should not only feel safe, they should be safe, and they need to be able to get home safely to their families when their shift ends.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Coronet, what do you believe to be the current safety needs for the town of Huntersville?
I agree. We need to continue to invest in our police department. I do believe we need to get our fire station and police department on the docket for replacement. Currently, right now, we cannot have women at the fire department because it's not established to house both people there. And I also agree we need to invest in our SROs as well.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, I'm getting a question again. Affordable housing, what do we do now?
What are we doing now, or what are we doing now?
What do we do now?
What do we do now? We continue down the path that we've started as a board. 2 years ago, we put about I think it was $150,000 in our budget to start to, and when I say start to address the issue of affordable housing, we're not even putting a dent in it at this point. We're going to continue to work with developers. I believe the number right now is about 47 affordable units, both ownership as well as rental, that we have worked with our partners to get. The mayor alluded to the fact that we've got a rezoning coming up where we're going to start our first co-op building. And when I say we're working with partners to do this, an actual co-op building for affordable units here in the downtown. So continuing to work with our nonprofits and others to build out that inventory, which we've just started. And again, we're not really putting a dent in it, but we've started.
Thank you. Mr. Quarles, affordable housing, what do we do now?
I agree with Commissioner Walsh. This board has done an excellent job negotiating with developers when it comes to affordable housing. No developer will come before this board without having affordable housing in his or her plan. So they know we're going to negotiate affordable housing. As Commissioner Walsh said, we have tangible evidence. We've put 47 affordable housing units that's coming to this town for our police, fire, teachers, and as those work in retail. I would support the town's assistance that we give to our partners to help with affordable housing. And then, as we all going to say, we have this co-op building that's coming to bring additional affordable housing. So what we should do is do what we're continuing to do. We have tangible evidence to prove that we take affordable housing very seriously. And if you look at affordable housing for police, that fewer vehicles leaving our town. That's fuel that we can keep in our town for our tax purposes as well. So again, continue what we're doing as far as affordable housing. Change nothing. Keep moving forward.
Mr. Boone, affordable housing, what do we do now?
Thank you for the question. Any new job I've ever taken, I've always had a 100-day plan. Within the first 100 days, I'm going to have to work with the board and the mayor to get somebody in town hall, basically one of the town assistant managers, and challenge them not to only be the downtown development plan manager, but also someone to be the tip of the spear for affordable housing, someone who works on this every day and looks for the opportunity not only with developers, but for partnerships with private companies. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Smallwood, affordable housing, what do we do now?
Thank you for the question. The way I see it is if we're promising affordability in Huntersville, it needs to be real, not just written down on paper. And I feel like that's kind of where we've been the last couple of years. Right now, there's also very little transparency in how we verify that units labeled as affordable are actually occupied by the people that they're intended for. So that's something else that concerns me. Developers can advertise them, but enforcement and reporting are often minimal. That's something we absolutely need to tighten up on, and if I'm elected, I will definitely be the one to do that. Thank you.
Mr. Coronet, in what ways, if any, should the town work with nonprofits?
I do think the town should work with nonprofits. I actually think there's a good opportunity for the town to work with a nonprofit in ways to develop a co-op to help with affordable housing. I don't think the town should actually manage co-ops or the affordable housing, but I think there's an opportunity to work with nonprofits to help enable that, and I look forward to working on that.
Ms. Hunt, in what ways, if any, should the town work with nonprofits?
I love this question. So donating to nonprofits, according to recent studies, is down unless you are a high net worth individual, which is not me, and maybe it's not most of the people in this room. So I think it's important to note that the government cannot possibly fill in all of the gaps for people at all times. And so when we think about donating to nonprofits as a town, I'm thinking about how we can help people proactively or reactively. And so by that, I mean we can invest in people's lives. We can help children with after-school tutoring programs, and then maybe that helps them have economic mobility in the future, and now they no longer need the social safety net. Maybe we're helping some folks with some mental health counseling. Now maybe they will no longer need police. And so if we are helping people proactively, then we can mitigate a significant amount of suffering along the way.
Mr. Boone, in what ways, if any, should the town work with nonprofits?
I think the town should look at each individual nonprofit. If it's something that the county of Mecklenburg County can handle and it's in their service wheel, let them handle it. If not, let them come to the town with their programs and we'll take a look at it. But I'm also a person that advocates for private civic groups to work with individual nonprofits. I can see one nonprofit in this room that we do an awful lot of work with. The Rotary Club that I belong to is putting a dental unit into the Cook Clinic right here in Huntersville. So that's what I would do on an individual basis.
Thank you. Ms. Smallwood, in what ways, if any, should the town work with nonprofits?
I believe that nonprofits are definitely important, but I think that taxpayers should have input on where and how their money is being spent.
Thank you. Mr. Gammon, I'll ask you the same question. In what ways, if any, should the town work with nonprofits?
I think the town should be a conduit for the nonprofits and not-for-profits in the town. For example, many of the things, just like we're coming up next week for the Business Expo, there should be a nonprofit expo that the town runs. We can run in the rec center to introduce people. We can bring nonprofits in on a monthly basis and introduce them to the people and encourage people to donate and volunteer their time. I personally do not think that taxpayer money should be spent on nonprofits. I'm like Dan, I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Lake Norman, Huntersville, and every year we raise about $100,000 that we give to nonprofits in Cornelius and Huntersville. I personally give, and I think everybody else should give, but I should not be the one picking the winners and losers of what nonprofit the taxpayer money goes to. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, in regards to e-bikes, do you have any concerns as it relates to the increased use of these vehicles throughout the town?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask because my wife and I both own one, and we regularly get on the trails, and I live in Vermilion, so we go through the downtown. I haven't seen a major increase in the use of e-bikes, at least while we've been out there. I know that as those increase, or there's an increase on our trails, et cetera, that we'll probably have to look at maybe some kind of regulations for them. But to me, every car we get off the road is better for the environment. It's better for our health. It's just better for everybody. So I'm all for e-bikes.
Thank you. Ms. Rivers, in regards to e-bikes, do you have any concerns of the increase of use of these vehicles in the town?
Well, I don't own an e-bike, and unlike Commissioner Walsh, however, I would love an e-bike, so my birthday is coming up if anyone wants to purchase one. No, honestly, I think the e-bikes are a good asset to the town of Huntersville, and I think that it helps to offset any transportation issues. I know people complain about transportation and how it's congested. So the e-bikes, I think, are a great asset to the town of Huntersville. I do think that we definitely need to ensure that our infrastructure, such as our sidewalks, our greenways, are in place to make sure that everyone is safe while utilizing them.
Thank you. Mr. Quarles, in regards to e-bikes, do you have any concerns of the increased use of these vehicles throughout the town?
With two bad knees, I'm going to say I have no problems such at all with e-bikes. I think e-bikes will help us get vehicles off the road. That is a big plus for us. And as we start to have more on the road, again, we just look at how we can put in other safety measures. But at the current time, I don't have any problems with e-bikes.
Thank you. Ms. Hunt, are there any items you wish to see removed from the town budget?
That is a fabulous question.
I wish I could take credit.
No, who put this in here? Honestly, I feel like our town budget is sound. And the reason why I say that is because we have very dedicated town staff who are looking at these things line by line. I can see her right now. She didn't put this question in. But these are very, see, she's got us. We have really, really talented town staff, y'all, who are looking at all of these things. They're not putting erroneous things in the budget. They're not putting things in the budget that are not necessary to make your life better. So my short answer is nothing. I don't think they need to take out anything because these people are professionals. They're advising us. They have people who advise them, and I wholeheartedly trust them.
Mr. Quarles, are there any items you wish to see removed from the town budget?
I would say no. Since we've been in place as far as elected officials, this town have moved forward tremendously, a lot of progress, and the progress is because of everything that's in the budget. We have our annual budget retreat with the professionals, the directors of this town, and they know, again, what we need to move forward. So again, there's nothing I would want to change in the budget. If anything, I would like to increase some things in the budget, but taking anything out, I would not take anything out.
Mr. Gammon, are there any items you wish to see removed from the town budget?
Yes, but they're not exactly printed in the budget, but the money is spent for them. Like the $18,000 plus that's spent for town retreats, but when you look at the meeting time that was spent for 2 days, it was probably a little over 8 hours. That's $18,000 of taxpayer money that the meeting could have been held here. The $17,500 that was spent for public art without any discussion with the public, hidden in the consent agenda that would not be pulled out. I don't have a problem with the public art, and I might even agree with it if I had a chance to discuss it, but it was not transparent. Those are the things that I want out of the budget, that kind of spending. The $200,000 that went to profits and not-for-profits, and maybe commissioner garments with the logos on it. Thank you.
Ms. Smallwood, are there any items you wish to see removed from the town budget?
I wish I could add some more detail to what Frank just said, but I really am just kind of piggybacking off of what he notated, retreats, art. I love art as well, but I really do think that maybe taxpayer dollars shouldn't be used for it. Maybe another avenue would be to partner with a local business. Thank you.
Mr. Walsh, what do you believe to be the best way for the town to support the local schools?
The schools are a partnership between the state of North Carolina, Mecklenburg County, and CMS. At the end of the day, we don't really have a seat at the table. We can do what we do to stay in touch with our CMS reps and support them in whatever way we can. But ultimately, we don't really have a lot of control over the schools.
Ms. Rivers, what do you believe to be the best way the town can support the local schools?
So as a parent of a child who is a student with CMS, being an advocate for our schools and letting them know that we are here to take concerns back to the CMS district reps and making sure that they understand, that we have that open dialogue. Relationships is key. Collaborations are key. What I can say personally is that in knowing and going to the schools and being visible, that has helped tremendously. We were able to partner with Google Fiber not too long ago and assist them with providing laptops for children who did not receive those. So again, it's about building relationships, being advocates, and ensuring that they know that the resources that are offered by us as well as through the CMS reps. Thank you.
Mr. Boone, what do you believe the best way the town can support the local schools?
Great question. The first thing I would do is go out to Hambright Road and meet with those 2 new schools that will be opening up next year. There's no turn lanes for drop-off and exiting when school starts and lets out. The town's responsibility, according to the state legislature, is to build roads for schools, any school. I would immediately start planning turning lanes for both of those schools to relieve the traffic on Hambright Road. Personally, I'm starting a reading program next Friday where we're going into elementary schools, Rotary Club members, and reading to 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders. That's what I'm doing personally. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Coronet, what do you believe the best way the town can support the local schools?
I strongly believe we need to start building out our roads and sidewalks where we'll be building our new schools. I think it's for the safety of the kids and for the best interest of the parents dropping their kids off. I've sat in those lines a few times and been stuck in traffic and somebody's trying to get around us and people are going the wrong way on a one-way road basically, and it's a recipe for disaster. And I believe we can also continue to partner with, our new school board members and helping them achieve what they can achieve.
Thank you. Mr. Quarles, how do you handle working through disagreements with others?
That's an excellent question. I have the reputation of building strong, trusting relationships. And I even said that in my opening remarks. But definitely in this position as an elected official, this board have received the highest honor from the state of North Carolina, from the North Carolina League of Municipalities. This board have received the award for civility. So we can disagree, but we'll never disagree out in public. We can have our issues behind the scenes, but we always shake hands. Commissioner Walsh and I, we're like the 2 headbangers on the board, but we're also very good friends. We know how to disagree and still have a good time and be friends. So again, it's all about leadership. You're not always going to have your way. How do you find a win-win? That's another word I use a lot on this board. I make those issues by having a win-win.
We're going to ask the clapping to stop too as well. Sorry. Thank you. Let's go with Mr. Coronet. How do you handle working through disagreements with others?
I've worked in the corporate world for about 20 years, and there's a lot of disagreements. And I think just coming to the table, stating your case, understanding where people are coming from, and having empathy for the other person's side, I think goes a long ways. I'm a pretty fair person, so if I'm willing to change my mind if they can make their case. But I think we're all, every one of us, Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. We're all here for the best interests of the town. And I think at the root of that, we need to remember that, even if we disagree.
Thank you. Mr. Gammon, how do you handle working through disagreements with others?
Well, Well, if you're talking about with other members of the board, now I could say that my 6 years on the planning board, one of the things I always told everyone, with 9 members on the planning board, and sometimes we would have disagreements, but they were professional disagreements. I don't think they ever got heated. But one thing I reminded everybody is that and this applies to the whole world, really. If everybody thought the same, you'd only need one person. I mean, the town board, if they all thought the same and voted the same every time, they'd only need one person up here. I won't comment on that. But other than that, thoughtfulness, prayer, forgiveness, and listening to people. Listen to people. Give the public a chance to talk. Make sure they get to say what they need to say and listen to them. They may not always agree with their decisions, and you may not agree with what they're trying to tell you, but what they're going to tell you, you need to hear it. That's only fair, because you're elected to represent everyone. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, how do you handle working through disagreements with others?
If they're smaller than me, then I do thumb wars. It's interesting. There's a lot of, when you're doing a rezoning or anything that's in the public ordinances, et cetera, I think to Frank's comment, we don't always agree. And so what you do is you advocate for your position, the other person advocates for their position, and you do try to find some common ground. Win-win is something Commissioner Quarles and I often talk about. That is, I don't always get it my way, he doesn't always get his way, nobody on this board always gets their way, but what you try to do is work through it and find the win, find the way that everybody gets some piece of the win. And really, I think we've done a pretty good job of that over the last 2 years.
Thank you. Ms. Hunt, you can only choose one. Walkability or alternative transportation. Which would you choose?
That's hard. Well, I am a very active person, so I'm going to say walkability. Do you want me to elaborate? Is this like a rapid? Okay, walkability. Yes, I would love walkability. My husband and I live very close to downtown. I can't wait for downtown to be developed. I will walk here all the time. And I currently ride my bike here when I can, when it's not dark out. And I absolutely love being able to get around town and never having to get in my car. That's the absolute best part here, folks.
Ms. Rivers, you can only choose one. Walkability or alternative transportation. Which would you choose?
Okay, listen now. I am not the most active, but I am getting there now. I am working out more. So, no, taking it back to my childhood and seeing Huntersville grow, definitely walkability. Even though, I'm not going to put us on blast, we took away my favorite Cashions, but just being able to walk downtown and see the growth, but just the walkability, I would appreciate that, appreciating Main Street and being able to walk to Coffee Republic because I live right over the railroad tracks. So, again, it just brings back the nostalgia of when I was a little girl and we would just walk or ride our bikes up here, but definitely walkability.
Mr. Boone, you can only choose one. Walkability or alternative transportation. Which would you choose?
Microtransit. Microtransit. Are you familiar with that?
All right. Ms. Smallwood, you can only choose one. Walkability or alternative transportation. Which would you choose?
Oh, wow, this is a hard one. So I lived out of the country for a couple of years where walking was a necessity or either the train. I wish I felt like I could do that here, but everything's so spread out. We're not like Europe. So I know as much as we want to be able to walk places and use greenways, which are extremely important, it's difficult to do that. You have to get into a car to move around and get to point A to point B. So as much as I love being outside, I love to walk my dog. I'm actually very excited for the greenway that's coming behind my home. I think, it's going to be a while before we can get there and feel safe enough, actually, to get out and walk somewhere. It's kind of dangerous out there. Talking about e-bikes, those worry me.
Mr. Walsh, Would you support a large multi-family development if it included affordable housing?
The answer is that in addition to affordable housing, I would be looking at mixed use. Right outside the doors, on the other side of 760, a use by right there was a 3-story apartment building. We worked with a developer to not only get affordable units, but we gave them another floor so we could have retail at the bottom. So where we have multifamily, I always like to see a retail component below it, and then again, some affordable housing as a bonus.
Mr. Gammon, would you support a large multi-family development if it included affordable housing?
I want to work this in because I want to talk about walkability for a minute too. I put my vote down for walkability. I was on the town's Greenway Trail and Bikeway Commission, and while I did that, I said, gee, I got to go learn something, so I got involved with the Carolina Thread Trail, and I've been volunteering with them since 2016. I was their Volunteer of the Year in 2018. So walkability, attainable housing, I'm not going to vote for something just because it has attainable housing in it, and right now, we're in a barter system for attainable housing. I know that the town has put money over here to work on getting attainable housing, but it's not codified. It's not in our 2040 plan. In our 2040 plan, the word unaffordable and affordable is used once in one paragraph in the 2040 plan. And as far as I know that I can find, it's not mentioned at all in the zoning ordinance. So what does the state allow us to do? What do we want to do? And then let's go do it. I'm not opposed to attainable housing, but we need to codify it and quit bartering with developers.
Thank you. Ms. Rivers, would you support a large multi-family development if it included affordable housing?
So affordable housing is, wow. Let me just say this. First of all, if I had to change the 2040 plan and add something, it would be affordable housing because we need it. We definitely need it. Our public servants serve us, and they can't afford to live here. 80% of them do not live here, but they work here. That is a problem. When I went away and I came back, I wanted to be able to come back and raise my family here and to know that I can't afford to live here the way that I want to. But the fact that my family owns property and has homes here, that is the reason why I'm able to come back here. But if I had to say, if there was a project for just a mixed use and that be the only reason, I would definitely have to look at what other concessions would they bring. Like Commissioner Walsh stated, definitely multifamily with retail, because we definitely want the economic value and economic growth, and we want to ensure that the dollars come in as well. So it wouldn't just mainly be about affordable housing, but that would definitely be one of the, we would definitely barter. I'll use Mr. Gammon's word. We'll definitely make sure that we speak to the developers and hold them accountable and make sure they bring something to the table when it comes to affordable housing.
Thank you. Mr. Coronet, would you support a large multi-family development if it included affordable housing?
There would be some nuances. One, it would have to be mixed use. I think that's something that it will help with our bringing in more tax money. I would also want to see where it's zoned and make sure it's in the appropriate location with the infrastructure that could support it. But I also do agree that we do need affordable housing. It's very important, and I agree with Frank that it should be codified in our 2040 plan.
Mr. Quarles, if you could undo one decision from the town in the past, what would that be?
That's a good question. And I don't want to seem like I'm bullheaded, but I think we have a darn good resume to run on. I don't think there's nothing I want to change. We have a darn good resume to run on. So to take something away would be minimizing our resume. So again, we've done more as a commissioner, a board of commissioners, than any board ever in the town of Huntersville. We have the lowest personal property tax in the state of North Carolina as far as population. We have the highest paid starting salary for police officers. We've given them a $4,800 pay increase. We have new fire trucks. So again, we've done so many things for public safety. infrastructure. We have more orange cones in the town ever in the town of Huntersville. So it'd be hard to say I would take something away.
Mr. Boone, if you could undo one decision from the town in the past, what would that be?
If I could undo one thing from the previous 2 years, it would have to be balancing the budget for next year by using fund balance monies.
Ms. Hunt, if you could undo one decision from the town's past, what would that be?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. So one of the things that I'm really passionate about is farmland preservation, and that's something that we've been working on the last 2 years. And so the last town board approved a project that is effectively boxing in Blackberry Ridge Farms. And so it makes it significantly harder for them to carry on their operations or to expand said operations because they are effectively being zoned out, if you will, of carrying on those operations. And that's something that we're really working hard to protect to make sure that that does not continue to happen to the remaining farmland in Huntersville.
Thank you. Ms. Smallwood, how do you see the town's best way to support businesses throughout the community?
So I was speaking with a couple of residents over the last week, and they were telling me that they felt that Huntersville seems more of a pass-through rather than an in-stop, and that they really would like to see a lot of small businesses open up in our area, along with retail and restaurants and more parking. I feel that that's something that's very important to us, and I also believe that we need to be speaking directly with one of the largest landowners here in downtown Huntersville and not send a liaison to have those conversations.
Ms. Rivers, what do you believe the best way for the town to support businesses are?
So, excuse me, I'm sorry. Small businesses are the heartbeat of Huntersville, and we already have many small businesses downtown, such as the Discovery Place Kids, which is a staple, Slice House Pizza, Mamma Mia's, Craft 760, Foster's Framing, the Hunter House, Local Photography, Crafty Beer, Main Street Tavern, the American Legion, and most recently, we have a new business called Benoit Events, and they literally just opened in August. But each of those businesses, they play a key role in what I like to call the Huntersville experience. Some are longstanding, others are new, but together they show how small businesses make downtown vibrant. To keep building on that, we need to make it easier for entrepreneurs to set up shop here, provide affordable spaces, and encourage mixed-use development that combines housing, retail, and walkability. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boone, what do you think the best way for the town is to support businesses throughout the area?
The best way that the town could support small businesses is not to vote for the 1 cent sales tax. And that increase will just kill small businesses in Huntersville. What both of the people that are the people that spoke for and against it, the one thing they did not tell you is that the town of Huntersville will have one representative and a committee of 27 other individuals in Charlotte. If that committee in Charlotte doesn't like the Huntersville representative, they have a veto power that says, we don't like the Huntersville rep, you need to come up with somebody else. That is not a good law for me. And I don't think it's going to do any good for any small businesses to prosper in this town. Thank you.
Ms. Hunt, what do you believe the best way for the town is to support businesses throughout the area?
We've heard my colleagues talk about mixed-use developments, and those are usually a really good place for small businesses to get started. And so if it's a much smaller place, kind of helps them get their feet wet. That's something that we could potentially see in a rezoning that we have down here. It's Holbrook Phase 2. There's going to be space for small retail that helps them get started. If we could have, at one point, my dream, as this question came up earlier, but a food hall in Huntersville, that's another great way for small businesses to get started in town and sort of work their way up to having maybe a larger space. And so working with groups like the Lake Norman Chamber, of course, who are a good liaison, a good group for us to work with to help support small businesses.
Mr. Coronet, what do you think the best way for the town is to support businesses throughout the area?
I believe revitalizing our downtown, working with the largest landowner. I'd be happy to sit down with him and discuss ways we could work with him. But I also do believe the mixed use is a really great way, and I think this board's done a great job of doing that. I think that also improves our walkability of our town. I love Vermilion. They have Harvey's right there. You can walk right up to it, right around all the houses. I think it's a really great idea, and I'd like to continue to do that.
Mr. Walsh, in regards to parks, do you believe that Huntersville will ever have enough?
Do I believe they'll ever have enough? I think as more people move in, we need to build more parks, and we're doing that right now. We just approved the First Responders Park. We're going to be looking at park next to our Fire Station 5. The county has bought property. They're doing a project off of Eastfield in Pottstown. They have the Pottstown Park. So the county's buying property, and we are at every turn looking for ways to increase our green space as well as actually build parks. The voters passed a bond referendum a couple years ago, and so we've got $8 million for that, maybe an expansion of our rec center, and we're looking actually at some other land purchases at this point.
Ms. Smallwood, in regards to parks, do you believe the town of Huntersville will ever have enough?
I don't think we could ever have enough dog parks. That's where I'm going to end that.
Mr. Gammon, in regards to parks, do you believe the town of Huntersville will ever have enough?
No, we'll never have enough. But the thing you got to realize here is that the town is not really the driver on parks, although again, I'm going to give Michael Jaycox some kudos here in a couple of seconds. Majority of our parks belong to the county. The land belongs to the county, and the county allows us to develop those for our people. The county is, if I can remember right, we're supposed to have a park within a quarter mile of every citizen. We don't have that right now. We have parks that they're planning to build, like near me, that would be a quarter mile, Cook Park, on Irwin Cook Road in that area. But Michael Jaycox has done a great job of partnering with the county and with Bradford Park. That's a partnership with Davison and the county. We're the major stockholder over there, but Davison is paying into that also. The other thing is I think that although we get parks, a lot of our parks have been athletic parks. Not everybody plays pickleball, okay? Somebody said that, but not everybody
Those are
plays
fighting words.
pickleball.
I'm just saying.
So there needs to be some passive parks. Needs to be some passive parks in town where kids can go out and use their imagination. They can get a kickball and they can start a game, and families can picnic. Thank you.
Mr. Quarles, in regards to parks, do you believe the town of Huntersville will ever have enough?
With the exception of the city of Charlotte, the town of Huntersville has the largest land mass of any municipality in Mecklenburg County. Parks is a little different than our infrastructure. We're behind on our infrastructure, but we're not behind on our parks. So I think that we're doing a great job within Huntersville with our parks, and I don't think we will ever run out of the position where we will not have enough land for parks. So again, I don't think we will ever not need parks. We will have space to continue to grow our parks.
Thank you all for being here this evening. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm now going to go start on the right and work my way left for the final question. And again, thank you for everyone this evening for submitting questions and those online as well. Mr. Walsh, why should people vote for you?
Over the last couple of years, this board has made meaningful progress on the challenges surrounding infrastructure. Today, we have more than 30 road and sideway projects underway with dozens of more on our CIP awaiting funding. We've approved the addition of the new First Responders Park and continue to expand our greenway system, the most frequently requested amenity for our community. I'm also proud to say that we have invested in our employees. We've funded salary increases for all our staff following a pay study and just approved a raise for every police officer to address hiring challenges. Huntersville now offers the highest starting pay for officers in Mecklenburg County and the surrounding area. Apparently I only have 1 minute, and you said we had 2 minutes. At any rate, basically I just want to continue the good work that this board has done. We've reached out. We've met just about every challenge that we could. Now he's saying stop. So anyway, you changed the rules on us.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Smallwood, why should people vote for you?
I believe people should vote for me because I believe our town deserves leadership that listens, collaborates, and acts responsibly, not politically. My volunteer experiences have taught me the importance of accountability, transparency, and collaboration, which are values, like I said, I will bring to my position if elected. My focus is simple. We need to strengthen public safety, make sure our tax dollars are used transparently and wisely. Again, we need to see that we have a full police staff and that we have SROs in every school. And we also need a magistrate's office up here in the Huntersville area. So that is something that I'm definitely going to push for if elected.
Thank you. Ms. Rivers, why should people vote for you?
Why not? No, but in all seriousness and in all fairness, I'm from here. I've seen Huntersville grow. I've seen what it is, what it was, and what I know it can be. I am honest, I am trustworthy, I have the background with my education as far as having a degree in political science, having a master's degree in public administration, but over 20 years of experience with working with Mecklenburg County. So why not me? Let me be your voice. Let me listen. Let me come out into your community and hear your issues, your concerns, so that I can come back and represent you and make the best decisions possible for you. I am the voice for the voiceless where it counts.
Again, please hold the claps here. Thank you, thank you. Mr. Quarles, why should people vote for you?
We thought we had 2 minutes, so I'm going to say I would like to talk, and I want to say so much. So if you want to know why you should vote for me, go to electedwinquarles.com to learn more. But I'm going to go now and say people should vote for me because in my first term, I learned how to govern. I've proved to be results-oriented. My colleagues and I, we've accomplished very much since we've been commissioners. Also, Huntersville have never had a voice for its veterans who understand their needs and their dependents' needs. So I am the voice in Huntersville for our veterans. You also should vote for me because I have put my role as commissioner at times before my own health. I wasn't able to tell you all about some of my disabilities, but no one can say they've ever heard me complain. I'm everywhere. I meet with anyone. I also pushed that we didn't have a pay increase, tax increase in 2025 or 2026. So again, those are some of the reasons I think you should vote for me. I'm results-oriented, I'm business-oriented, I'm pro-business, and again, I'm a people person. I'm here for all of Huntersville. Whether you support me or you don't, you should vote for me because I'm going to serve you with dignity and with honor.
Thank you. Ms. Hunt, please with the clapping. Ms. Hunt, why should people vote for you?
I'm going to talk about environmental sustainability because my friends are going to hit up some of our other accomplishments. So I'm going to quickly tick through all of the things that we have done for environmental stewardship and where we hope to go. So you're getting an arborist. That was a campaign promise in '23. It is happening. We updated our tree mitigation ordinance so developers can't cut down so many trees on site and pay to have them planted elsewhere. We are, as I said, engaging with farmers to preserve our farmland. We're looking to do that through deed restrictions or agricultural and cultural easements, which means that that land will always be protected and can only ever be used for farmland or conservation. With 2 more years, I would like to do that tree canopy study that I mentioned earlier. I'd like to establish a voluntary composting program in conjunction with the county. I'd like to establish wildlife corridors or green networks and look at green stormwater initiatives. Really quickly, in a world where you have a federal government that's shut down, you have a state government that can't agree on a budget, you have a Huntersville Town Board who has been working very hard for you and delivering results for the last 2 years. And with 2 more years, I promise you we'll do it again.
And the clapping, thank you so much for the wonderful support in the room there. All right. Mr. Gammon, why
Bring
should
back
people...
transparency to town decision-making, spending, and zoning, to reduce taxes, town fees, and non-essential spending. I have a chart too. It's a lot smaller, but it's irrelevant. There's 25 towns listed on there, and yes, Huntersville has the lowest tax rate, but what you got to understand, that's an apples to oranges comparison. Because when you go to each town, every town is different. What essential services does every town provide? The majority of those towns provide water, waste, libraries, schools. They got to drive school buses. We don't have to do any of that. County does it for us. Mooresville, look, there's an example. They're at 48.7, they're 48.75 tax rate, right? That's higher than us. But again, they have libraries, they have wastewater, and they have schools. It's not a comparison.
Mr. Coronet, why should people vote for you?
This is my first time running, and when I told my my neighbor, I'm on the HOA, I've been the president of my HOA for 5 years, and I've totally fixed up our whole neighborhood, and one of the guys who's always busted my chops about everything just pulled me over and told me to get over to his car, he needed to talk to me. So I went over, and he's like, if you treat this town the way you treat the HOA, we're gonna be in really good shape. And so he gave me a check. So it meant a lot. But I love this town, and I want to make this town a great place for everybody. And so I hope I can do that for everybody. And please go to my website. You can see it's scottcornet.com, and you can see my mom endorses me.
Thank you. Mr. Boone, why should people vote for you?
Well, that should be pretty easy. Why you should vote for me tonight is because I'm the last speaker, correct? I have the experience to be a commissioner. I want to represent all the people in Huntersville, not on one side of the street or the other, both sides of the street. Transparency, real transparency, responsible growth, smart spending, and especially public safety. That's going to be my main focus. And one of the things I'd like to see this new board do is look at the 911 system that we have now. It's not working. It's too much of a delay. You call a medic, you call a police protection. It takes a while for you to go down through the dispatch system. And Charlotte, we need to move that back up here into our region so the dispatcher knows the difference between Huntersville Road and Old Huntersville Road. Thank you for coming out tonight. I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
We appreciate all the candidates again for being here. Thank you so much to Bill Russell and the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. This was our third and final public forum for this cycle. Be sure to go out and vote. Obviously, many important topics, and we appreciate y'all being here tonight. Drive safe. I did that. I'm not the time.